Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
The Information Man Show. The Information Man Show.
True.
The Information Man Show. The Information Man Show.
Tell the truth.
The Information Man Show. All right, everybody. Peace, everybody. As you can see, I have a mask on. I've got brother Mark Black in the backstage. I'll be bringing him on very soon in just a minute. This is how real it's getting in America today. Trying to protect myself, my family, and do what I can. I want to say peace to everybody in the chat room. We got Jay Dunn, brother Kenny's in the house, Tasha's in the house, Fashion for Life is in the house, UK Vlogs is in the house, Voice of a Reason for My People is in the house. I'm going to bring brother Mark Burns in the house. We're talking about Black Outkast media broadcasting. And what I want to do is I'm going to play a clip because there was a video that I produced, or I didn't produce it, but I uploaded it, that YouTube took down because they don't want us knowing the truth. Let me play you a small audio portion of the video that got taken down, where you have brothers or a brother in the federal prison system telling you that they feel like they're being left for dead. Let me just play this quick audio clip. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
What's good, fam?
We're having, hey, brother, how you doing, brother? I'm having a lot of internet problems. I believe it's because a lot of people are using the internet and
Yeah.
it's overload. I've been having these problems since yesterday, and then I checked my provider, start playing around with my equipment, and it was working. It was working it's been working perfectly up until yesterday, and now it's acting weird now. So
Yeah.
that's why I cut out like that, and it comes back on and it goes out. And I know it's because everybody is using social media to communicate with their family and loved ones. Everyone's using these apps, and it's overloading the system. They might even slow down the bit rates on the system too. So I want to apologize to you for some of the technical problems I'm having right now. That's completely out of my hands. But how are you doing, brother?
Hey, brother, you know me, man. I'm alive and kicking, man. Just glad to get a chance to have a conversation with a brother such as yourself. I want to just say thanks right off the bat, man, that you even thought of me. You know, I have nothing but the highest esteem for you and your work, man. So it's an honor to be here to talk to the family today.
Oh, it's an honor to have you on the program. Let me play this. I want to play this for everybody. You know, there's a lot of things that are going on in the prison system in terms of how our people are being treated. I put a video up maybe a week ago, the live footage of there's a brother in a federal pen. You probably have heard the video, heard him speak. And I had the video up, and YouTube took it down, talking about it was inciting, that it was promoting violence and stuff like that. So that, once again, that they don't want our people getting information out there. Let me just play this audio for everybody real quick. Just a small clip.
Like a couple days ago, right? So, all of a sudden, out of the blue, fucking everybody just fucking dying and getting sick and shit. Like, this shit serious as fuck. Like, they literally leaving us in here to die. Like, you know, it's probably like 3 dudes I know already and shit. You feel me? Motherfucking, they took out this bitch dead that I literally knew and shit. The rest of these motherfuckers just sick as hell, you know? They talking about social distancing and shit. You feel me? Nigga can't even social distance or nothing, cause like, nigga, look at this shit. This motherfucker over here.
Okay, Brother Black, you heard a little clip of that. I had the full video, but of course YouTube, they took it down, they flagged it, whatever they do, you know. You've heard about, you know the numbers, you know what's happening across the country. You've got brothers and sisters in these prison environments, and they're being impacted by the coronavirus. What are your thoughts?
You know, we often think that, you know, people getting locked up for various offenses or whatever is a way of addressing their particular issues or whatever the case may be. But, you know, as we can see in the era of the Rona, even locking us up for minor offenses may be the equivalent of a death sentence. I mean, it's not just in the federal system, of course. You know, I've been doing a lot of research, a lot of looking at different shit. If you look at what's happening in Michigan right now, for example, and I don't know how up you are on this, you know, Brother Clifton, but there's the Bureau of Prisons in Michigan has actually purchased like millions of doses of hydroxychloroquine, right? Now, why the hell would the Bureau of Prisons need 30 million doses of hydroxychloroquine, right? Well, it's obvious, in my opinion. This is not conspiracy. The prisons, excuse me, the prisons, I think, will be the first line of, excuse me, of testing on a lot of different shit that they're going to look for as treatments for, and so on and so forth for COVID-19. And believe it or not, with, you know, them being prisoners, their rights are greatly curtailed. Like, you know, when you start talking about things like ethical issues such as informed consent, to being experimented on and things like that. I mean, fam, we living in some Nazi ass shit right now.
We're definitely in some Nazi type stuff here, but this is the problem that I'm concerned about right now. Our society, we've gone from being them saying that the coronavirus, everybody can catch it. We talked about it's coming from China. So you had Donald Trump talking about it's a Chinese disease. And then you had Asians in America who were catching their taste of hell that black people have been dealing with for over 400 or 500 years since we were brought over here from them shores. Okay. And now you see how they flipped it, brother. They have flipped it now. And now they're saying that, well, black people are the face of coronavirus.
Oh,
you
yeah.
see, now you see, for example, let me put this up on the screen. You see, for example, in Africa, right now in Africa, they're saying Africans are being kicked out of their apartments, their homes that live over there. They're working. They're being asked, their passports are being snatched from them. They're being kicked out, so on and so forth. This is in China. The Africans in China are being targeted and evicted from their apartments. So that's one article. Now, black people in America are now being designated as, oh, we have the coronavirus. We're the largest cases. And they're talking about Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Chicago, as you already know. Now, the thing that blows me away is that, wait a minute. First of all, we already know that black people economically are at the bottom ladder in this country economically, and we've always had coabilities in terms of health issues because we can't get the kind of health care that other people can get that are afforded and have the money and whereabout in the generational wealth that Tone talks about. And he did a great presentation yesterday about this. When you got places like this, brother, let me see. Damn, that was what I wanted to load up. You got Alabama. There was a UN representative that went to Alabama and said that there's areas in Alabama where black people live where it is the worst that they have seen compared to underdeveloped countries or what we used to call third world countries.
Yes.
And that here we are in America, which is supposed to be the top of the heat, where you have black people living in areas where you got fecal matter and all these various things. So now all of a sudden America wants to say, why is this happening? God damn it, you know why it's happening.
Exactly. You know, the thing that throws me for a loop, brother, and this is what I found the most troubling about this whole narrative that they're framing.
Right.
You remember when it was the Chinese virus, right? And people was throwing shade at Asians and this, that, and the third, you dig? It was all about, like, you know, make sure that we don't become xenophobes, that we protect our, you know, Asian brothers and sisters. You know, we know Trump with executive order, I think it was 13872, actually passed an executive order offering financial assistance, aid, training, loans, and all of that for Asian and Pacific Islander businesses. This was before the Rona even kicked off, right? But then you had New York, the AG in New York open up a hotline and was threatening prosecution for anybody that reported incidents of, you know, xenophobia or hate or whatever the case may be towards the Asian community, right? But now that it's kind of spun around and we are becoming the face of the Rona epidemic or pandemic here in the country, you notice everybody now is not talking about any type of resources. Nobody's talking about marshaling more resources to get specific health care to us, this, that, and the third. Now everybody wants to reopen everything. They want to tamp down on the passing of legislation and resources and things like that. And I think that this narrative serves dual purposes, believe it or not.
Yes, sir.
None of which, by the way, work out to our benefit, but it serves two purposes for the United States government, specifically the Trump administration. Number one, it allows Trump, even if he's just passive about it, right? We don't have to assume that he a racist bastard or anything. If he just does nothing, what will end up happening is the traditional scapegoating of us as the people of the coronavirus, and nobody will give a shit, right? So Trump wins in that the view of how this has been handled goes off of him, and it starts being directed at us. You saw the narrative that that Surgeon General Jerome whatever his name is, you know, the bootleg
Jerome Adams.
Thank you.
I have a serious problem with Jerome Adams, because earlier when this was going down, you didn't hear from this Negro. They kind of kept him in the back.
Right.
Then when he talks, they got he's supposed to be the Surgeon General of this country. This Negro is spending. They got him only promoting the whole idea of how you wear a mask. Damn it, if you don't know how to wear a mask, then you gotta have your head examined. So you got him on TV talking about.
It's worse than that. They put this fool out front, and the first message that he presents to America is that, well, we're all dying because we just unhealthy ass people, right? Without ever having it. Now, this is a Surgeon General, mind you, right? He's supposed to come at us with information as to why we are in this health position, right? It's not enough to just say, oh, well, niggas just got diabetes, high blood pressure, and this, that, and the third. So if they dying, oh, well, right? That's not what the Surgeon General is supposed to be doing. He's supposed to present information to the country to let everybody know why we're in this vulnerable spot. But he didn't have to do that. What he did was he took the focus from us being affected by something that nobody could have planned for, right? This novel coronavirus, and made it all about our bad habits. And here's the thing, you know, Brother Cliff, that really fucks with me. I've been long sick and tired of brothers and sisters who are telling us, and I don't want to say this in a way that let me just go ahead and just speak my piece, all right? I can't sugarcoat this shit. The do-for-selfers among our people is killing us. And let me explain why. Because I have no problem with us going out and doing what we can to benefit ourselves as a people, as a lineage, as a tribe, right? Everybody else does that. We should be doing that, no doubt, okay? However, whenever there is a crisis of any type, you never see any other ethnic group hesitate to turn to Sam with their hand out and say, hey, we're being affected right now. Help us. Everybody does this, whether you're a Fortune 500 corporation or whether you're a white small business owner that, you know, on Main Street, USA in some, you know, BFE town, right? But we're the only people that actually allows other black people to get up there and say, no, we just have to figure it out. We just have to figure it out all on our own. We pay taxes like everybody else. We serve the government just like everybody else. We do everything else like everybody else. But when crises come, even our own people are telling us we got to figure it out. We can't say that we have a just claim to demand from our government resources, aid, funding, and so on and so forth. Nope, we're the only ones that are told that we have to figure this shit out on our own. We got to find some way to make it through this. Well, why should we? We're citizens.
Well, we're basically in this situation because America, and you can respect this, brother, America has never made black people whole for the generational wealth that was stolen from us. So when they talk about why are black people getting the coronavirus like this, well, America's never made us whole. Therefore, black people become victimized by this situation because we're living in poverty in some cases. Okay, we're living in poor conditions in some of our communities where black people don't have access to proper diet. When you talk about, look, we know that Corona said that the key factors to catch the coronavirus is not only your age, but cardiovascular disease, hypertension, and diabetes. Well, damn it, black people have those things because we've never gotten proper access to medical care, and we live in a racist society, which also impacts the hypertension that black men and women experience. Therefore, it opens the door for this was happening. Now, look, let me play this clip for you, brother. Okay, Brother Black. This is in Los Angeles. Now, if I'm not mistaken, they made this F up. I think they're trying to clean their asses up by getting the facilities in the southern part of LA, right? But I'm playing this clip right here. I want you to hear this, everybody out there, because this is why when black people don't have access, then don't turn around and say, what's wrong with black folks now? Why y'all catching this and that? What's going on? Let me play this clip for you right here.
Civil rights leaders demand that LA County open COVID testing centers in South LA. Now hold on. They have demanded immediately open walk-in and drive-in COVID testing centers in South Los Angeles. The demand was made after the county's COVID-19 emergency operations centers announced that it would open 3 testing sites Friday, April 3rd, that's today, in the South, and now listen to this, South Bay, Pomona, and the Antelope Valley. There was no site mentioned for South Los Angeles in the Emergency Operations Center's announcement. Now, hold on. Earl Fry Hutchison noted that appointments for testing are required, and they would have to be made online. Many residents in South LA do not have computers, computer access, or transportation. This makes it even less likely that they will be tested. And to make matters worse, the county announced the next possible round of testing sites, you ready, will be Northridge, Long Beach, Lancaster, and Pasadena.
Information is power.
Now, before you answer, give me your thoughts about that. Let me say peace and love to brother Gab Talk Media, who super chatted me. I appreciate that, brother.
Thank you for the super chat.
And we got my sister Back to the Basics, who super chatted me.
Thank you for the super chat.
And let me say peace to August Dreams, brother Duvian, Uncle Frank's in the house, B1 for Life is in the house. A lot of great people in the house. We got, let me see, Cooljet 87 in the house. Jamie James is in the house. Old Reliable's in the house. Thank you for being here. Tasha, as I said before. We got Sonia Seeds, who's been following me for a long time. Penny Sparks is in the house. Big D, Biggie D's in the house. And many, many more. If I didn't say your name, I apologize. Try it, buy it, make it, sell it is in the house. That's an interesting name there. And many of the folks that come in, Rims, Guys, Carter's in the house. Thank you for being here. And many, many, many more that come in. I do my best to acknowledge people as I possibly can. Now, Brother Black, if you were able, I hope you were able to hear that. What are your thoughts? Now, I think they've made some adjustments now because that was on April 3rd. But that's another example of how they marginalize, underestimate, undervalue black people.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, if you think about it, fam, this shit is almost like a perfect storm, right? When it comes to us. Yes. You have a combination of a multitude of things, all of which first of all, I want to give a shout out to independent black media like yourself, like myself, like others who are really trying to, we're playing a dual role in this crisis. Number one, we're trying to get good information to our people because nobody's fucking talking to us. Right. I mean, you heard Jerome Adams talking about that the CDC was going to be putting out specific instructions for our people. Well, if he's any example, that information is going to be dumbed down, sterilized, and infantilized to the point that it's basically going to be idiotic drivel. I mean, why do you have the damn Secretary General of the United States talking to us like, you know, saying, do it for Big Mama, do it for Pop?
Oh, wait a minute. Now I gotta talk to you. I gotta get on this one. This is how I looked at it. When they brought up the question about black people and COVID-19 to the president, what I looked at with his, what do you got to lose, black people? That's my African American. I looked at it as just like a slave plantation. Let me get the Negro to talk to the black people in the language that they understand. So you got a man who's supposed to be a Surgeon General. He's talking like he's on an episode of Big Mama's television show.
Facts.
Talking about to the Big Mamas. Why was it necessary to convey that?
You know, fam, I've learned more about epidemiology, virology, and microbiology in the last month, right, than I knew my whole life, right? I'm sitting here talking to people about neutralizing antibodies. I'm talking to them about spike proteins. I'm talking to them about, you know, ACE2 inhibitors. I'm not a fucking idiot. I don't need the damn Secretary General of the nation basically talking down to me like I can't understand what the hell is happening. Right. But beside the fact that he was just patently insulting or whatever the case may be, the fact is that they're refusing to give us the information that we need in order to press home to the United States what it is that we need. I mean, think about this, Brother Clifton. We actually had to fight over the last 3 weeks.
Yes.
Just to get the racial breakdown of who was being diagnosed positive, who was being hospitalized, and unfortunately, who was dying. Right? That's only been happening in the last 3 weeks, even though the CDC put out clear guidelines that stated that, you know, upon any positive diagnosis, this demographical information was supposed to be gathered.
Well, let me give you some numbers here. You've probably heard these already. So, for example, in both Louisiana and Chicago, for example, recent statistics show that roughly 70% of COVID-19 deaths occurred among blacks, and even though they are minorities in both areas. In North Carolina, the county, the home of Charlotte, the state large city of black people make up 32.9% of the residents, but accounted for 43.7% reported coronavirus cases as of April 4th. And that was just last week ago. Now, Milwaukee.
I think the brother froze up again. I'm just going to pause and let him come on back in, family. But y'all get
which made big news because the majority of cases black people in what there we go. Once again, we're having internet issues, man. What I wanted to say here is that we know that Milwaukee came into the scene because they have some of the largest large black population, but they have some of the most poorest and racially divided community in America, one of the most. And not to mention, when you look at Wisconsin and these places like that, they have large pools of black men in particular that are in their prison system. Yep. It's almost like a prison state. Okay, so you got Milwaukee, Wisconsin, black males, blacks made up about 27% of the population, but compared to almost half of all coronavirus infections. And as of the early Tuesday afternoon, it moved up to 71% for fatalities. Yep. So black people are catching hell now. I will admit that when I started doing videos on the coronavirus, we were many of the people watching and people on the panels and I've talked to, we found it very interesting that Africa was not being ravished in the way that other continents have been getting ravished. Right? And that a lot of cases were people that were coming into the continent, not necessarily brothers and sisters out there themselves. And so, of course, people were thinking, well, is it the melanin? Is it I was thinking, I was trying to figure it out too and say, could it be climate? Could it be whatever? But we're learning that no, this virus does not care about your race, age, or anything. It's going to get you across the board.
Yep.
Now, then there are people who think, well, is this man-made? Because have we ever seen a virus that can live in the air this long and live on all these surfaces? We've never seen anything like this. So that's what they're telling us.
I think, Brother Clifton, that's the problem, right? If you think about it, the problem that we have is actually multifold for us as Black folks specifically, right? But one of the major problems that we have is the lack of information. The idea that something completely new, right? Something that nobody's ever seen before automatically is something that we kind of recoil against. It's like, well, somebody has had to know about this some way, right? Like, there's no way that a virus could just appear out of nowhere, be completely new. But unfortunately, fam, if you study this shit, like,
yes,
I'm not saying that I'm any, virologist or whatever. I don't have any degrees in this. I'm no doctor. But I've put in a little bit of layperson study, and I actually, to be honest, I put in quite a bit of study.
Yes,
right?
sir.
And the fact is I've learned that, for example, I'll give you an example, the Ebola virus, right? Now, we know that there's three main strains of Ebola virus. There's Ebola Zaire, Ebola Congo, and Ebola Reston, which was a mutated strain that appeared here in the United States in a small outbreak that we had here a while back, right?
Yes.
Okay. But where does Ebola come from? Like, everybody, I remember when we was younger, because I'm in my 40s, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm certain you're about close to my age, right?
I might be older than you, brother.
Right, you might even be older than me.
I'm about 50 years old.
You remember back in the day, we didn't know anything about any Ebola, right?
Right.
No Ebola virus when we was youngsters, like when we was in our teens and 20s and shit, right? Ebola just appeared out of nowhere. Well, if you understand how zoonotic viruses work, right? How virus transmission can go from species to species to species, it makes sense that a virus such as this novel coronavirus could appear. But because of the novelty of it, right, the newness of it, we've never seen anything like it. It leaves a lot open for conjecture. Now, I, for one, love conjecture, brother. As you well know, you've talked to me before. You know I have no problem with asking questions.
Right.
Right. The problem is when we think that we have the answers. This is an unfolding situation, not just for Black people, but for everybody. Ain't nobody on the planet can claim to be experts at SARS-CoV-2. It's new, right? Nobody knows everything about this motherfucker. You feel me?
Yes.
Right? So it's okay for you to... Sister said I look older than 40. It's
all right. Everybody,
it's all good. It's the gray. If I shave this off, I look like a baby. But
I got gray when I grow my facial hair out. I got gray too.
But the thing is that we can conjecture, but the conjecture doesn't help us at this point, right? Like, we can talk about, so I've heard some people talking about it came out of a lab at Fort Detrick in Texas, right? Some people are saying that it came out of Wuxi labs in Wuhan in China, and all of a sudden, and I get it, right? We don't know what's going on and we're trying to figure it out. But conjecture at this point is not really helping us. The virus is here, right?
Okay.
What we need to be trying to figure out is, one, what can we do as a people, right? Because ain't nobody seeming to give too much of a fuck about us. What can we do to minimize its impact upon us? And how can we plan for the world that's going to come after the era of the Rona, right? Because make no mistake, a global pandemic changes everything, right? One of the things that has been kind of giving me some optimism, Brother Clifton, is that I look at the Chinese ideogram for crisis, and it's made up of two characters. One symbolizes danger. The other one symbolizes opportunity.
Opportunity.
Right? In crisis situations, there are dangers, there are risks, and we know better than anybody, right now at this particular point. Our people are struggling and suffering like nobody's business. But we need to also start focusing on what the opportunities will be in the new world that will be constituted at the end of the era of the
Okay.
coronavirus.
Brother Black, let me say this because I want you to introduce everyone to your channel and where they can find you. And I got the description of his channel in this video. So if you go into this video, the description, it has the name of the channel. You can click in, and I want everyone to subscribe. Let me say peace to Mary James. Let me say peace to Jamal James, who came in the house. Let me say peace to Screen Learning, St. Louis Natural Hair Exposed in the house. Sonia C's, Lake Ladies in the house. Thank you, everyone who's come in. Now, let me put this on the table because I want to get your opinion on this. But before I do that, let me just do first thing is first. Let everybody know who you are, where they can find you, why you come up with the whole concept of Black Outkast media broadcasting. Where does that all that come from? I think we should have started with that in the beginning, but I was having all these technical problems, brother. So I apologize. Go ahead right here. Introduce yourself.
Good. Well, you know, my nom de guerre, if you will, is Mark Black, but my name is Mark Gillespie. I'm originally born and raised in KC, right, Kansas City, Missouri. Shout out to Riverview Projects, right? So I'm a ghetto child, but I'm a brother that's experienced and been a lot of places. I'm a military veteran. I've done a lot of things, I've seen a lot of different stuff. What really got me into broadcasting, like on YouTube, was essentially I wanted a voice out there that spoke to my people as if my people could understand even the most arcane things, right? Because what I've always had a tendency to notice, you know, and I'm not saying every Black broadcaster out there is like me, or like that, I should say, but what I've noticed is that we tend to click up on social media just like we do kind of on the block, right? You got your people over here that's, you know, on this stuff, and your people that are over here on this stuff. But I wanted a place where I could just speak the truth and encourage us together to come and, you know, put things together, right? To make 2 + 2 = 4. And so I started my old channel, with a heavy, you know, kind of pro-Black, you know, perspective, right? The thing was, though, is that I found that because we have a tendency as a people to look at any particular thing about one of us that doesn't match what we think is Blackness, that they're just outcasted, right? Like if you know, maybe a little too geeky, or your friends is white, or you have a white maid or something like that, right? People will not take you seriously. And so I found myself in that particular community just sort of outcasting. And so at the end of what was it? I think it was 2018. I just said, you know what? If I'm an outcast, then I don't have to worry about being anything to anybody. I could just be what the hell I need to be, and be what, you know, be what I am. So I started my new channel, Black Outkast Media Broadcasting, to make a place, a home where ideas are shared, where things are debated, and it don't matter what you are as far as Blackness goes. It's still strong Black orientation. I'm always going to be about my people, but I'm not delving into whose lives is doing, you know, people doing what and how they doing it, what they worship. None of that matters at the end of the day. As a matter of fact, the coronavirus and crisis like these, Brother Clifton, should teach us the reality of our situation. It don't matter if you an entrepreneur. It don't matter if you a hotep. It don't matter if you religious or not religious. Miss Rona, the Rona is doing us all in. You see what I'm saying? At some point, we're going to have to understand that we may not have constant, you know, love for each and every Black person, but we have common interests that it is in our best interest to speak up on, to advocate for, to fight for. And so that was the birth of Black Outkast Media Broadcasting. And I will continue to do this work because it needs to be done. This is my gift of myself to my beloved people. Brother Clifton, you still with us, man? I hope he's not having any technical issues at this particular point, fam. Hey, by the way, Brother Danubian, may God be pleased with your brother, man. I'm sorry to hear about the loss of the brother from the NOI there. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, this thing is out here doing us all in. And if we don't find a way, if we don't find the ties that bind in order for us to get past, certain things we don't like about each other, or certain things we tend to judge each other on, we're going to find ourselves with a rough road to hoe, because everybody else on the planet is uniting to make sure that they get theirs, to make sure that they get their due, right? It's as simple as that. Every other ethnic group in this country is making sure that it has its advocates. It's making sure that it has its voice and its hands in the coffers. We're going to have to unite in some way around, if nothing else, our shared heritage and lineage as the descendants of those who were enslaved here, in order to be able to get what it is that we need. Shalonda said it's not easy being seen as the enemy in uniform, and also by civilians such as yourself. That was the hardest thing for me too, as a military veteran. I'm actually fourth generation military veteran. All of us were in the army, and I served to benefit my people. I didn't think of it as like trying to help the white man or anything like that, but I was shocked at the level of vehemence that people show me as a veteran, saying that, you was a tool of the white man and this, that, and the third. It's like, fam, if you black in America and we not free yet, in some way you have been of service to the United States of America. That's facts. You don't have to assign your name on a contract or on a dotted line in the military in order to serve this country. When you go to work every day and they make a profit off of your labor, and that profit is then used to fund imperialist wars, more bullshit across the globe and here at home, you just as much service to this thing as you claim that I might have been. Right? People need to really take a look at the logic that they use when they examine particular situations, right? Go ahead, Brother Clifton. I was just trying to hold it down, man, while you was taking care of business.
I appreciate it, but this is the thing that's bothering me, though, brother. I wanted to do a clean broadcast with you in terms of not all these interruptions and stuff. And whatever's going on, I think Screen Learning saying there's some environmental things going on out here in California. There's just something's not right. I don't know. This is my thinking. I don't know if I should probably reschedule this with you, bring you back so that we can have a more clean, because I don't really want to put this out in the video. It's choppy, it's coming in and out, it's hurting the flow of the conversation.
No, I feel you, brother.
So what I think,
I'm at your service. So
what I want to
coordinate and get a time.
Yeah, what I want. I think I know that with my.
Hey, sorry, y'all. I'm responding to people in the chat or whatever. As a matter of fact, there was a question that was asked. It was asked to Brother Clifton by Try It, Buy It, Make It, Sell It. I love that name, by the way. What do you all suggest as a starting point to help us come together on this one? If if you don't mind me taking a stab at it, fam, I have some ideas that I'd like to share, especially, or I should say, particularly regarding that particular question that you asked. So try it by, if you want me to take a stab at it, just pop a one in the chat, and I'll go ahead and share my ideas regarding your question. Thank you. I appreciate it. So here's one idea, right, that I have. And I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I'm going to piss some people off, but I'm the black sheep. I don't give a fuck if I piss you off, right? So the answer to this question actually is already extant. It's already here. We have an answer, try it by it, to your question. The starting point to help us come together to do the needful, the very first thing, right, is to claim the name. What do I mean by that? Many of you are familiar with the group, right, the hashtag group ADOS. Now, whatever you might feel about Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore or whatever the case may be, to me, that's immaterial. They're messengers, right? You don't have to like the messenger to take the message.
Right.
One of the things that they have made clear is that what gives us the power to be able to do the needful, right, to guide our advocacy, to guide our activism, is to claim our tie to each other, right? America has been able to do many things, but America cannot stop us from being who we are. They cannot stop us from being who we're from. Do you get where I'm coming from? When Yvette said claim the name, she's saying that we have a distinct and unique heritage and lineage in this country that nobody else has. That right there is the basic tie that, regardless of our religious choices or preferences, our, social economic positions, our class positions in this, that, and the third, will allow us to be able to come together and unite around our common interests, because we have common interests that derive from being the descendants of the enslaved here in the United States. I don't need to know who Brother Clifton is dating or what his religious beliefs is or any of that in order to know that he's my tribesman and that his interests are my interests. That's all I need to know in order to be able to unify with the brother to do what is needed to do to benefit us both. So if you want my take on it, the answer's already there. We need to just accept the fact that we have a shared heritage, a shared lineage, and we need to organize around that, even if we don't agree on shit else.
Brother Black, so I'm back. I keep going in and out. So my thing is, I'm gonna have to have you come back so we can get this going again, because I want a clean, straight through video. So let's do this. Do you have time tomorrow, same time, or if not, we can try for the following weekend. Saturday would be great.
Yes, Saturday would be perfect, fam. Okay. During the week, my house is a work at home, so my household is honoring the stay in place order.
Oh, okay.
My wife works from home. My beloved Miss Denny works from home, so I've got two home workers.
Let's do this. So I can get this internet situation cleared up, I gotta find out whether it's something going on locally in my area. If it's weather, my internet wasn't starting to have problems until this week.
Yeah,
I mean this couple of days. So I'm gonna end the broadcast now. I'll be in contact with you. I got your number,
yes,
my
sir.
email. I'll call you. We'll set up for next week, because I think we're on to something right now, but I just don't like the fact that the video is going to be choppy with all sort of technical problems, and I don't want to present that, especially don't want to present you on something like that. No, I don't want to do that. So everybody that's come into the chat room, thank you for being here. Thank you for participating. We're going to do this again coming back next Saturday. I'm going to do a test tonight or today or this week to see if it's working right. I got to figure out what it is. I'm hoping that it is weather. I'm hoping it is something just technical in the area they got to fix. I called up my service. I've got top-notch internet service, so there's something going on. Plus, everybody is using internet right now.
Yep.
So it's dragging. It is affecting YouTube. It's affecting everybody. So I'm going to end it. But everybody, what we'll do is we'll do this again. I'll let Brother Black know what's going on with my internet doing this week. We will do this again on Saturday around the same time. If that works for you, 12:30, whatever time works for you, brother, I'm down with that.
That works, fam.
Let's try that. I just want to make sure that my internet and everything is working right. There's something going on this weekend that's got it all jacked up, and I haven't had any problems with it until this weekend.
I know your streams usually be clean as a whistle, bro. I knew something was going on.
Something's not right. And then, it's just something's not right. All of a sudden, the internet, but I understand everybody and their mama is sucking up internet rates and the bandwidth.
Yep.
And they did say there were going to be problems. I just wish it wasn't when we were on broadcasting. So I almost feel like we should just keep going and see, but I don't want the video being in and out choppy.
No, hey, fam, I definitely understand. Like I said, I'm at your disposal, bro. It's my honor to even have the opportunity to speak to the family, man. So we will definitely make it happen.
Yeah, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna get back into these issues. But let me before I leave, this is what I wanted to lay on everybody. They put in some thought in their mind. Let me put this on the screen if I can. I'm probably taking chances here. You see this right here? Fauci, coronavirus, immunity cards for America. Let me play this soundbite for everybody.
Can you imagine a time where Americans carry certificates of immunity?
That's possible. I mean, it's one of those things that we talk about when we want to make sure that we know who the vulnerable people are and not. This is something that's being discussed. I think it might actually have some merit under certain circumstances.
So what I'm bringing up there in a nutshell is if they're targeting black people as the main ones who have coronavirus, and Chinese are kicking black folks or African folk, people of the African diaspora out of China, yet America is telling us to be nice to the Chinese, don't be racial towards them. In America, even we're talking about giving them some reparation, giving them some money. Wait a minute, if black people are in this condition in America, where's our money? Where is the program for us? And
for sure, there's no way they can tell me at this point the reparation is untenable, divisive. I don't want to hear that shit.
Well, check this out.
Nothing else just came out of this. There's that.
Check this out, brother Black Dog. I gotta bring this up to you. You can check this out on PBS Hour News. You know that the banks are getting $1 trillion a day.
A day.
Yes.
Thank you, fam. I'm so glad you brought that up, man. I know you want to end this shit, and I get it because we want to do it right. But I just want to touch on this.
Go ahead.
Everybody got caught up over the stimulus package, right? The $2 trillion, stimulus package or whatever, and the businesses getting like 500 billion and all this and the third. Fam, in the repo markets, right? The Fed is committed to $1 trillion a day, not one time, a day,
right?
To putting money out there in liquidity into the repo markets, buying up junk bonds, the whole 9 yards. Fam, they can't tell us shit about our justice claim. They can't tell us nothing. If you can run the printer of the Fed for these motherfuckers, you can run it for us.
Right. If you can give them that kind of money, you can give, and on top of that, with the stimulus package, you can give black folks more. Black people across this country, you can give them more than $1,200, $2,400. That's all chump change. Another thing, reason why I brought that clip up is because they're talking about immunity cards. So if they're targeting black people as the main ones in America, and believe me, they're suppressing the numbers. You got certainly I think there was a statistics in Georgia where they said it was black people, then they had white people a little bit below us, and they had unknown. Who the fuck is unknown? There's different races of people. Why don't you identify who all those people are? So what they do when they want to target us, they'll make everyone else's numbers look insignificant and ours higher. When it came to AIDS, they said, well, black people had AIDS, right? Right, but the
Facts.
fact of
Because
the
you
matter
remember
is,
at the beginning, Brother Clifton, it wasn't even called AIDS. It was called GRID. It was
right,
called gay-related immune deficiency. And it
right,
was pointed at gay people and, homosexuals and shit, right?
right,
But then as soon as it started moving into our community, all of a
right,
sudden they took the whole gay piece off,
right.
changed the name of it, and made us the face of it.
Made us the face of it, and then they turned around and said that we're the ones who brought this, and they said it was the monkeys, the African, and so they began to stigmatize us. But check this out. I have an article. I'm going to do a podcast on my podcasting platforms. There's a evil individual who confessed it. There was a one of the film festivals where they had this guy who worked as an intelligence officer in South Africa during apartheid, who admitted, I'm going to do this, that they purposely injected AIDS into the African population in South Africa, the South Africans. They purposely injected them with the AIDS virus because they felt they were in a war. And part of that war was we got to get into biological warfare to kill these people. They were concerned about the numbers.
I'll admit, I had never heard that, but I did check out the transcripts of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in South Africa, where they had scientists admit that they put products that could affect fertility, like birth control products and things like that, in products that South African blacks use, like cigarettes, their different liquors and things like that, right? So I'm not going to say you wrong, right? I'm saying I never heard that, but it would not surprise me.
This is what happened. It came out in 2019. It was a film festival. They have a documentary about it. There's a documentary about this. Some of the pullover soldiers, or race soldiers as we call them, who are still alive today, have admitted that yes, they did get involved in purposely injecting black people in South Africa with the HIV, the virus, as a way to destroy them. I have a detailed article, and I'll tell you where you can find this, Brother Black. You can find it on African News. There's a website called African News where they broke the story, and I wish that I still have it up here. I have the documents myself. I can actually send you the website documents.
I appreciate that, brother.
It's called "We Deliberately Injected AIDS on Black South Africans," titled. I'll send you the information on that too. Now, the reason why I brought up the immunity part, the immunity cards, is because that goes back to slavery, when black people had to show our freedom papers when we went from place to place. Yes. So if they target and say that black people are the face of this coronavirus, and they come out with immunity cards, which he just said, you heard him say, and it's on the article that I put on the screen here. Who's to say that they could not say to black people in America?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I mean, like I said, fam, from the beginning of the broadcast, we living in some Nazi level shit. But just like there was a response to the Nazis, I hope in our next broadcast we get to discussing our response. Right, because as you probably know, brother, but people who have never got a chance to watch me, I'm not one of these brothers that sit here and talk about our problems. I always am looking for solutions. And so I hope we get a chance, in our later broadcast to really touch in on what our response should be. Not our reaction, but our response to this incident should be. I think our brother may have frozen again, fam. But yeah, let me go through the chat real quick and just kind of take a look. Yeah, 18 billions. I had not heard of the specific thing where they stated that they were purposefully infecting South Africans with the AIDS virus. I'm not saying I hadn't heard that there wasn't warfare, chemical warfare and stuff practiced on South Africans. I had just never heard that. Right. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, fam, we have to, at this particular point, start organizing around a response. Right. Because I can tell you for a certainty, I believe that this situation, this incident, right, warrants a clear, definitive response from us as a collective, not the bootlicks that claim to speak in our name, right? Not the Negroes for hire, right? But from us, the people. And in order to do that, we need to be having these discussions together so that we can start to coalesce around an understanding that allows us to develop a response that we can share with each other and all get on the same page with. Old Reliable said economic boycotts. That's one thing. That's one option. Brother Clifton, are you back, man? I think he's still working on it. Man, that Kenneth Copeland character, Penny, he's a demon if I ever saw one. That fool looks devilish as hell, man. Seriously. Like, I'm cool. Yeah. Jamal said, have I read? Oh, he was talking to Brother Danubian. Okay. But no, I need to check that out. I need to check that out too, Jamal. I agree, try it, buy it. As a matter of fact, I have an idea surrounding that same thing. Because one of the things that we definitely need to address, and we need to demand too, that our government addresses this. See, I want us to understand something. I don't want to hear from us anymore where people are talking about we're begging the white man for this or begging the white man for that. No, this is my country. I put my ass on the line for it. If anybody has a right to demand anything from it, it is me and my people. And we will demand it. We will not be shamed into being told that we can't make the government give us our due. I'm sorry. Like that whole dynamic should be done at this particular point, fam. Right? Because everybody in the country at this point has their hands out. Everybody. There is not an ethnic group, a social economic class, or any type that don't have their hands out. So nobody gets to tell us shit about us being welfare queens and beggars. Where the fuck was these businesses and corporations, saving for a rainy day? They wasn't doing that. What they were doing when they were getting money is they were buying back their stock and driving the prices up and giving each other golden parachutes. No, if it's good enough for them, it is good enough for us. Fam, do not let people fucking buffalo you and tell you that you don't have a right as an American citizen, as the most American of American citizens. You don't have a right to demand specific, targeted, tangible redress from your government. This is your government, but you will have the government that you take from them because they made it clear they're not giving it to us. We're going to have to fight for it. We're going to have to demand it. This needs to be a part of our response. Brother Clifton, are you back, brother?
All right, brother.
Yeah, you still bored.
Yeah. I'm back, but same problem in the podcast. I apologize to everybody. Take care, brother. You hear me? Take care.
Yeah, I can hear you now. You were borging for quite a bit, but I think you good,
okay,
man.
Support the program we were building here, and I'm pissed off that I'm now all of a sudden having these problems all of a sudden after all this time. So I'm going to try to see what we can do to fix these problems. We're going to get back together on Saturday around the same time, Brother Black. We're going to do this again.
Yes, sir.
We'll put out the messages to folks. Everybody who has come over, thank you. I don't know whether I should keep this video up or take this one down. I don't know. Maybe I should, because it's got problems that I do not like. I don't like.
Well, brother, I'll tell you what, if you decide to take it down, shoot me if you can. Like, I don't know if you have cloud storage or whatever, but shoot me a link to the cloud storage. I'll download and put it up on my channel.
Well, you know what?
I don't mind.
This is what I'll do. I'll keep it up. I'll keep it up. It's just that I like stuff to be, a certain way. But I'm gonna keep it up.
Do part 2.
Yeah, we're gonna do part 2. We're gonna get it in, and hopefully things will be better. We'll do part 2. I'll keep this up so people can, because you were dropping some dimes anyway when I went off. So everybody, take care. Thank you for coming over. I'm gonna do some tests myself this evening to see how things are working out. And I got to make a few phone calls and find out what is happening, because I think it's something happening in my area that's interrupting my service, because I usually don't have these kind of problems. But everybody take care. Peace, brother. I'm going to end the broadcast. All right.